Hello, and welcome to The Mind of a Therapist, a podcast where we interview psychotherapists and helping professionals what they are passionate about in order to provide you with messages of encouragement and hope. The Mind of a Therapist is sponsored by Psychological Counseling Services, PCS, Healing Hearts and Transforming Lives. Please look into our intensive program at pcsintensive.com. I am Dr. Marcus Earle, the Clinical Director of PCS. Each episode will be hosted by me or another PCS therapist. Please enjoy the following discussion. Hello, this is Marcus Earle, your host today, and I'm sitting across from Lisa Merrin, and we're going to have just a brief talk about she and how you got involved in this field. And so how about if you introduce yourself for a moment, Lisa?
Well, hi, Marcus, and it's really good to be here. As you said, I'm Lisa Merrin, and I'm one of the psychologist therapists here at PCS. I've been here for a little over a year and a half now.
Yes.
And I had a sort of interesting journey to get here, and I'm loving being here now.
Yeah, how about if you say a little bit about that journey?
Sure.
Because it is interesting.
Yeah. I got my PhD in clinical developmental psychology back in the mid-90s, and really had a focus on family therapy and working with children and families and couples at that time. And then I got school psychology certified en route to that degree and became a mom and decided that I'd do school psychology for a little while because it was a very forgiving schedule for a young mom and to be able to spend lots of time with my sweet son. And it just turned into a whole beautiful career. And in addition to being a school psychologist at the elementary and high school levels, I also started supervising graduate students very shortly after I got my degree and have been doing so most of the time ever since. And being an adjunct professor at various local universities, teaching interns and younger students various aspects of school psychology and special education and related things.
Well, you're an amazing educator. That I've learned about you.
Thank you.
So that's that career. How did you end up here?
Well, it's because of you, actually. I decided that I was ready to retire from school psychology, but I wasn't ready to retire from being a psychologist. Mm-hmm. And so I ran into you at a psychology conference a couple of years ago, and you asked me what was up, and I told you I was putting out feelers, and you said, you should come check out PCS, you'd be wonderful there. And I said, oh, Marcus, that's so flattering, but, my career's been so different. And you said, oh, I know you, you'd be great. And so I came and I shadowed at your suggestion, and I completely fell in love with what we do here and spent a few more months shadowing and training and started that following February after talking with you about it in, I think, late September. And it's just been such a magical way to kind of bookend my career, having trained in clinical work and now returning to it.
Well, that was one of my best comments ever, evidently, to have made that suggestion.
Yeah,
so
thank you.
I'm loving that. So what areas of the work and kind of this different twist or, to doing therapy now versus what you were doing before? And I don't know if it's versus, but it's a little more emphasis on doing therapy. What are you enjoying the most?
I am really enjoying, I think we all have different journeys that bring us into this field, and I realize about myself that I've always been very curious about connection of families to each other, connection of individuals to each other, connection to ourselves. And I'm able to really look at that closely and work with people about sort of that tension between connection and protection here in a way that wasn't the same in the schools. And I really missed getting to do that therapeutic work. I would frequently find myself in the position of recommending therapy and counseling for some families, but not being the one who got to do it. And so now I'm getting to do that work on the other side of the coin and really delve into that and be curious in a whole different way.
Yeah, I love that because I think that tension is something that, everybody struggles with. Is, I want to be connected, but boy, it doesn't feel safe.
Yes.
To really reach out and to be vulnerable. because that person could really hurt me.
Yeah.
And so then that puts some barriers up, and
Yeah.
of all kinds of crazy ways we put a barrier.
Yes. And I think, a common thread for me is that I've always been a strength-based therapist in the schools, really wanting, certainly we were looking at trying to figure out why, for example, children might be having a hard time learning, but also wanting to find out what their strengths were. And it really isn't that different working here as a therapist, because I think people are just so incredibly resilient, and even the challenges that they present with are in some ways miraculous, in most ways, miraculous ways that we all try to protect ourselves. And to get through really hard times, we often need to protect instead of connect. And then being a therapist is this privileged position of getting to provide a safe and sacred space where people can begin to look at that and feel safe enough to experiment with releasing some of those protections in favor of getting curious about themselves and others again.
Isn't that the wonderful secret that, the way we protect some of these things that seem to interfere and seem to be problems, they're born from this incredible strength.
Yes.
That we all possess as children, and the creativity.
Yes.
To come up with some of these really interesting ways of keeping ourselves safe. It's really mind-blowing to me.
It is. It is. And I think it's really important for our clients to see that, hopefully that can help them release some shame or embarrassment when they can see how they just did the best they could. We all do the best we can to adapt to tough situations. And how can we replace some of those strategies with healthier strategies? When is it still important to sort of retreat and protect? And how can you start safely and gradually enjoying moving back into connection again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. So how would you kind of describe it a bit, but how would you describe your work, the way you work with people?
Well, I have all this teaching history.
Yes.
And so one of the things that I love to do is teach clients information so that they can integrate and be empowered by that information. So I do a lot of that. I also have really expanded my love and passion for experiential work. So I like balancing the knowledge that I can help people gain through assessment, through exploration of their own history, with then doing more experiential things, meaning perhaps imagery exercises through internal family systems, or after helping people understand a little bit more about polyvagal theory, helping them practice some exercises to learn to regulate themselves, which is another way of learning to connect with yourself after protecting yourself.
Yep.
So these themes really resonate.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is definitely a strength. What are your goals for yourself professionally? Now, this is round 2 of your profession. Where are you headed?
Well, I want to keep learning. Learning is really important to me, and this has been an enormous growth experience for me as a psychologist to get to come here and sort of have this next wave of growth and connection. My goals are to keep doing that, to keep supervising new generations of therapists. So thank you for that opportunity. I'm supervising here again. And to keep doing all of this as part of a team. So again, I feel like I'm being a little bit redundant here, but it really all does come back to connection for me. And in thinking about this podcast today, that kept being a thread that ran through it, the importance for me to be connected with people. And so in the schools, I worked in a team, and here at PCS, we work as a team. And I want to stay connected to my colleagues and connected to training and connected to therapy and growth.
Yeah, I know for me, that connection piece, I just can't imagine working solo practice. The gift of having people here all the time and be able to have these conversations as needed, which often, I think, in our field is really nice. I know it's provided a lot of personal growth for me and then a ton of professional growth, because there's just so much to learn and getting all these different perspectives, both from people that are currently here and people who've been here previous. Just a tremendous gift.
I agree that, and what you've built here, so that we have we have senior therapists, if you will, wise therapists, experienced therapists that have been around for a long time.
Yeah.
And we have wise younger therapists who are coming in. And again, through supervision and through just growing all different generations of therapists who are at all different perspectives, it's very invigorating because younger therapists bring sort of new, progressive, exciting ideas from the field, and more seasoned therapists bring a different kind of wisdom, and then we all bring different techniques and modalities and personalities, and we all have in common wanting to create a safe, supportive space for our clients. And so getting to do that together and learning how to communicate together on behalf of clients is really one of the things that makes this such a rich work environment.
Yeah. That's nice.
Yeah, thank you.
And I what I would think about with you, and I think I've told this to you before, is that our conversations previously have been brief, and generally at a conference and maybe one social thing is about it, but they were not frequent. And I said what I did to you at the point when that happened. But why don't you give us a try? I think you'd be great at it, because there's just this sense about you that when you sit with you, it's like you've known you for a long time. You have that characteristic or quality, and so what I would know is that anybody that would come see you would immediately feel comfortable that, hey, this is a person I could just hang out with and share with. So,
thank you, Marcus.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It means a lot.
Yeah,
I don't think you can really. I wouldn't expect anyone to get anywhere without feeling safe and honored. And I really do. I'm really in awe of the people who want to come and do this work, and it's really a gift to get to do it with them. And it's important to me to create safe spaces for those things to happen. So I'm glad that I'm able to help with that atmosphere here. Thank you.
Was there anything that I didn't ask about that you want to share?
I think I hit on all the main points. I just want to say, thank you for bringing me on board. It's been really revolutionary to be here, and it feels like coming home. So Thank you for the opportunity.
You're welcome, and certainly my pleasure. Thanks. Thanks for joining me.
Thank you.
Please press the subscribe button, as well as rating and providing a review of our podcast. This helps others to connect with what you have been hearing. If you have any questions, please contact us at themindofatherapist@gmail.com. These questions will be kept anonymous. I want to thank Eric Price for the wonderful music you hear in this podcast. Additionally, this podcast was created to provide accurate and authoritative information on the subject matter. Although we are interviewing licensed therapists, they are not your therapist. This podcast is not intended to serve as direct medical advice and should not be used as a substitute for direct professional help. It is given with the understanding that neither the host, publisher, guest, or PCS are rendering legal, medical, or clinical professional information. If you need a professional, we encourage you to find one. Visit Psychology Today to find a licensed clinician near you.